YouTube. This is George, and today I'm going to make another video of a computer that I've revisited before and I've assembled. And this computer was the Dell T3500, and by popular demand from one of my subscribers, I've decided to have another look at how you can move a Dell 3500 from the case was actually manufactured in to standard case using a regular EATX power supply. So if you can see, that's the desktop, and this computer is running Fedora. If you see the F to the right hand side, there's the power button, the wireless signal speaker, and there's the activity light. So if I click on activities, you can see there's the Unity desktop. If I clicked on applications, there you can see all the applications open in Ubuntu, in Fedora. So this is running Linux, and this is running Linux Fedora version, I think it's 31, so that's quite a new version. So here's the computer in question. So this is a case that I've bought brand new, but as you can see, there's a odd power button on at the front, and that power button is using the actual Dell connection to the motherboard. This is the activity lights, 2 USB ports, audio and jack. This is the power button, and all the other ones are removed because they are not needed, because it's being moved down here. So you can see there's the activity light on, and the Dell power motherboard light that tells you when there's power coming to the actual motherboard. This case has got a glass cover, so I'll remove the screws, and then I'll show you generally how to. I've actually done this video constructing this computer, so I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to show you how to connect the power supply, because it's very difficult to move a Dell T3500 from its original case to a custom case. And the reason for that is because Dell uses proprietary cables to connect the motherboard to the power switch and to get any of the lights working. So this is not very easy, you know, it's very difficult to do that. This computer runs the Xeon 5620 chip. So I'll just pause for a minute so I could take this. So there you go, folks, that's the back panel removed. So there you can see the CPU under the heatsink. So that's the heatsink for the T3400 56 Xeon 4 cores 5620 there's the video card. That's a GeForce 710, and this is the bit I want to show you, folks. This is the connector to the Dell, the front panel. That's the connector. There's the cables for the hard drives. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can take 5 hard drives, so it's got 5 SATA ports. There's the standard EATX power supply, and if you look, there's a fan, 120 millimeter fan, and they're connected to the front of the system. So I've had to jerry-rig the 6-pin and 4-pin power connectors from the power supply, because the Dell system requires, you know, clean a 4-pin power supply. So that's a green indicator light to tell you you've got power. This cable is actually the connector that runs, if you could see, that runs up to this area. So that's for the inbuilt sound. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 16 megabytes of DDR3 memory. So 4 sticks, 16. And here you go. There's the connector that runs from the proprietary connector on the Dell T3500. So you have to buy one of these cables. There's the, let that focus. That's the cable you have to buy off eBay, and this was made in China. And this is a front panel connector cable for Dell T3500. You don't connect this cable directly to the motherboard, from the motherboard of the Dell T3500 to the power connectors of this case, because that doesn't work. There's the front fan, and that's working. And with the Dell systems, all the fans have to be connected with fan connectors, which are specifically bought for Dell system. So you have to buy connectors for a Dell motherboard, and then plug your fans in using the adapter. So the front panel cable connects to the front of the unit. So you have to source your original Dell T3500 front panel, and somehow you have to jerry-rig that into the front of your case. So you have to remove all the brackets for the hard drives and actually jerry-rig the front panel connector from a T3500 into the ordinary case. And then you have to get one of these cables. There's the serial number. You have to, if you pause that and copy that down, you could buy that cable from eBay. It's about £15 in England, but in America you're looking at about £23.50 US dollars to get this cable. Everything else is usable on the system, standard components. So the only bit that's unique, proprietary, is the actual power connectors from the Dell power system, because there's a special connector on the T3400 motherboard with which is that yellow, this way I'm pointing, that cable plugs into proprietary connector on the motherboard and it runs to the front panel. You can actually buy some pins, and if you could find the right points on the connection, which is the power on, hard drive indicators, reset switch, then you could actually try to run the existing cables from the front panel, but that doesn't work. So you have to get a special cable off eBay for Dell T3500 and the front panel, and then you could, you know, then put it into such a case. So that's the hard drive bay. This is the hard drive bay, and I've got 2 hard drives in there, and yeah, so that's the system. That's a T3400 motherboard transplanted into a normal EATX case. You have to buy an EATX case. This board is huge and it's not going to fit into a normal EATX case or a mid-tower system. You have to buy an EATX case, which is about £50 British money, British currency, and that's about 65 dollars USD. You would have to then, you know, convert the currency yourself. But to be successful, that light has to come on once you plug in the power supply, your standard EATX power supply. If that light comes on, then you're getting enough power. And if that little light comes on, the green light, then you've got booting on the motherboard. And with Dell systems, when you turn the Dell system on, you get 4 green lights that flash randomly, and then on the screen it comes up where there's any faults. You have to update the BIOS to the latest Dell BIOS, which is the BIOS number is A18. If you want to put a 56 series chip, so you put in a 5620, you want to upgrade to 5650 or 5660, 5690, you have to upgrade the BIOS to the latest revision. And this BIOS is upgraded to the latest, which is the BIOS revision A18 for this system, which is the same as the BIOS revision for the T3600 workstation. So this is a T3400 workstation motherboard, which I bought off eBay, and I bought the case, obviously, as I said, for about 50 pounds, which is similar conversion, about 65 USD. The motherboard was 35 pounds, so you're looking at about 38, 39 USD, 40 USD. So in fact, if you get a motherboard, a case, memory, you use your existing hard drives, you buy the cable to connect from your T3400. If you already got a T3400 and you want to upgrade that to a new case, then everything is there. You just have to take everything out of the T3400, the front panel, connectors, and connect that into your new case. Remember, you have to find a way to fit the front panel from the Dell T3400 to your case front panel. So you have to fit it here. You would have to find your own way of, you know, ensuring that you could fit it to the system and turn it on because otherwise there is no way to turn it on. You have to have access to this front panel switch. So you have to replace that. You can't use the original from the Dell because it doesn't work. You have to find a way of making your own. So that's what I've done. I've been able to transplant the front panel of a Dell T3500 into a normal EATX case, a regular PCIe graphics card, which works fine. The chip is a Xeon 5620, 4 gigs of DDR3, and there you go, folks. Cooling is really good. This system idles around 34 degrees C, and that's just using the fan from the case fan blowing on to the processor. There's no fan on the processor. You don't need one, because the processor heatsink in the Dell T3400 has heat pipes, and it's very efficient. You don't actually need a cooler onto the heatsink, but you do need a fan placed in front of the heatsink blowing air through the heatsink, and you need an exhaust fan blowing air from the system out of the system to the back of the system. So you'll need a Wi-Fi adapter, because there's no Wi-Fi card, so you need a Wi-Fi adapter or Wi-Fi built-in card. There's a PCIe slot, and you got a second PCIe slot. So you got you got 2 by 16 slots, and you got two PCI slots. So you got plenty expansion. The case is very easy to build into. I mean, cable management could be better, but as you can see, for my system, airflow back to front is perfect. There's no cables in between, so airflow is perfect. So that's it, folks. That's the wrap up of this video. For my subscriber who wanted me to post this video, showing the inside and the complete build and the system in operation. So it is quite worth it to buy an old Dell T3400. Take the motherboard out, take the graphics cards out, take the CPU out, take the memory out, and buy yourself a EATX case. Remember, this will not fit in an EATX case. It has to be an extended EATX case, and it has to have no dry bays, no bays for the hard drives. You have to have the hard drive bays fitted at the bottom of the system, or you have to fit your drives at the back of the motherboard. There's a panel at the back of the motherboard on lots of these cases, and you'll be able to fit your 2.5 drives at the back of the motherboard system. There's somewhere to fit that, or you've got 1, 2, 3. You got 3 slots on near behind the power supply, and you can fit up to 3.5 hard drives, and 2.5 5400 hard drives behind the motherboard panel. You've got ventilation holes for air intake at the top of the case. You could fit 2 fans at the top, one above the CPU, which would give air to the top of the CPU, and you could fit another fan at the front of the case here, and that would give more airflow, but you get more noise. So like I said, cable management is not fantastic on this system, but I don't need to, because the CPU is at the top of the case, because this is running more like a BTX system. So the CPU is at the top of the case, and it's directly behind one fan, and you're getting air being exhausted. So you got intake fan, exhaust fan, so that's going to make your airflow very efficient. A little bit of cable management, but if you want to build a server, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SATA ports. So you've got a master SATA port, and you've got 4 SATA ports, so you can have 5 drives in this system. You can also fit a PCIe SAS controller and fit another 2 drives. So in total you could have up to 9 drives in this system if you require. You know, you could fit drives on the floor of the system. There's holes at the bottom of the of this enclosed motherboard, this power supply tray. You can fit drives as well. So this system could be used as a server quite easily, but as a workstation it's very powerful. Being a Xeon system, Intel Xeon system, you got a nice graphics card, and you know, lots of memory. 16 megabytes of memory is enough for a workstation, paired with a Xeon CPU, and this system would last you quite a long time. Any problems, you replace the motherboard. You've got your CPU and cooler. Any x86 board, you could fit the 5620. You could fit your 4 sticks of RAM. You could fit your video card. So you could upgrade this system quite easily, because it's a modern motherboard, modern power supply, with your 6-pin GPU rails. You need extenders obviously if you put in a longer GPU, but there's plenty SATA connections on this power supply. I've hidden them away behind the system. There's a 6-pin connector at the top of the system, and a 4-pin connector. So that's it, folks. So that's it. Jump working away. Dell T3500 workstation, motherboard, Xeon processor, and a standard EATX case. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. If you want to leave any comments, please leave a comment down below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you don't like, leave a dislike. But you know, this is a very interesting system to put together, because it's quite challenging. It's not your ordinary straightforward computer build where you just, you know, put the parts in. You have to think carefully about where you're going to site this motherboard, how you're going to find cables to fit the proprietary Dell connectors. You need to buy fan extensions that fit a Dell system, because you just can't plug any fan into these fans, otherwise you get an error and the system doesn't boot. So you have to have Dell connectors, which you can get off eBay. Everything you can get off eBay, but you actually have to do a little bit of research, or look at my video and try to work out from the close-ups how I've gone about, you know, putting this system together. So if you can see, it's just a matter of taking some pictures and marking out where everything is, and you could put a transplant of a T34 or even a T35 or a T36 board into EATX case. The power supply has to be over 500 watts. You cannot put a 450 in here. There won't be enough power to run this CPU, memory, graphics cards, fans. It has to be a 500 plus power supply. I would recommend a 650 to a 750 watt power supply to get adequate power to this system, because of the Xeon processor, graphics card, and you know, fan system, etc. Okay, that's all for now. Bye. See you next time.